Hi, Don.
Mike, how you doing, man?
Good. This is Don Shanahan from Every Movie Has a Lesson. I'm Mike Crowley from You'll Probably Agree, and we just got back from the Chicago Critics Film Festival.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with a foreign language film that I saw, and I think you saw it through a screener.
Yep.
It was called The Guilty.
Yeah.
Det er alarmcentralen.
Jeg har kørt ud i cykel og slået mit knæ
Lige på
hele
det.
I really enjoyed it. It's a good real-time thriller. It's about a cop who the clues kind of get played in here that he's gotten in trouble and he's put on the desk job for a while as a detective. And on the desk, he's got to do like what would that be technically called? Emergency services dispatch kind of duty.
Yeah, he's
a little
a
bit.
dispatcher.
And sure enough, he gets a call where the first two words are "help me" from a frazzled voice, and from there, the movie's kind of like a good real-time thriller about what's he going to do to interpret what's happening, what can he coordinate, what can he find through the limited information he has between a headset and a screen.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the movie and how just with the fits in the start to like, you're at the mercy of how long can that call hold on before it gets hung up, and then he, of course, has to react and go, oh crap, oh shit, what am I going to do to find and fix this? You know, because he's helpless, pinned to this desk.
Yeah.
And his frustration becomes our tension, and the suspense of, you know, what's happening on the other end, which you never see. The film never leaves the confines of his room and his recording area and all that, or answering phone area, and that's it. So a real cool, semi-real-time, single location.
Yeah.
It's a Copenhagen, so a Danish film. I was impressed. What do you think?
Well, I gotta say, this is like one of my favorite bottle films I have ever seen.
I like the way you call them bottle films. Love that term.
Movie reminded me a lot of Locke. And for those who aren't familiar with Locke, it's this movie that entirely takes place in a car where Tom Hardy is on a phone, and pretty much everything, like from his job to his personal life, is falling apart.
Right.
And sort of like with this film, this is about a man who's in one location and he's on a phone, and everything in his life is kind of falling apart.
Right. We get those clues all filmed. And,
Yeah.
You know, he's got a court date. Shit's in trouble. He's probably going to get bounced. And he gets I like in the film where he gets to that point where he's like, fuck it, I'm helping. I'm helping every way I can. If I'm going down, I'm going down.
Yeah, and it's in a way it's sort of like Tom Hardy's character, this man sort of atoning for his own sins.
Right.
Even no matter what the situation is, you can make it good. Like with plaster and brick.
I really love sort of like the cold color palette of the film. Everything's sort of this bluish sort of
Very
tint.
fluorescent office thing going, but then he retreats to like a more in the dark kind of second, you know, office line area where he can work more away
And it gets
from
hotter
the pack.
as he's like there's more pressure on him. Like there's just that little sort of fluorescent light in there that's glowing, and it kind of shows how he's under more pressure. But I think the cold sort of, maybe it's just me overanalyzing.
No, I'm with you on that.
But it sort of represents, I mean, not just the office atmosphere, but also sort of the feeling that you're supposed to have as a dispatcher, where you're disconnected and cold from everything.
Or he's
because
like the one light in the good part of the story. Or
Yeah.
just, all that.
the pacing is fantastic. The acting is great.
I like the good, like the real good, clean, crisp audio mix. You know,
Yeah,
like,
the
I mean,
mixed
you get a little
diegetic-
bit of the diegetic background of whatever the office and facility is, and then on the other end, the phone calls, like obviously whatever traffic and ambient noise is wherever the
It's crystal
victim
clear.
is. Oh yeah,
And like the traffic, the ambience is crystal clear, so you get an idea of the atmosphere.
Or
But
even
then
the
voice
muffles.
comes out like as it's coming through a receiver.
Det er alarmcentralen. Hallo? Taler jeg med Iben?
Hej skat.
you know, sharp little. I like your term, bottle film, man.
Yeah, absolute recommendation. So
Yep.
we'll move on from
What do you got?
yeah.
Ooh.
So The Guilty. We'll move on from there.
This next one.
Yeah. First Reformed.
I've decided to keep a journal to set down all my thoughts and the simple events of my day. I will keep this diary for 1 year, and at the end of that time, it will be destroyed.
From one of my favorite screenwriters, if not my favorite screenwriter, because he wrote my favorite film of all time, which is Raging Bull, and another one of my favorite films, which is Taxi Driver. And here comes First Reformed, which is basically a mixture of Diary of a Country Priest and Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
You don't think it's going that direction, where like you just see this man who's supposed to be at peace, and calm, and then all of a sudden he goes fucking batshit.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Right. The disquiet in this film is really sold well by Ethan Hawke. This might be the best I've seen Ethan Hawke act. I know about 2 years ago, I kind of, if I'm making like lists of things like that, the best I've seen him act was 2 years ago in Born to Be Blue, where he played Chet Baker as a jazz trumpeter and all that, and his kind of fall from grace and return from injury and all that. And normally the Ethan Hawke I'm used to is the loquacious Ethan Hawke, the Linklater Ethan Hawke, where he's just, he's I hate
cool
to say
guy.
plucky, he's the cool
He's
guy.
fun.
So to see him play this grizzled, defeated, insular priest was really impressive from Hawke. I don't know if I've ever seen him better.
Was this adapted or was this completely original?
See, that's the thing. Like when you tell me about Diary of a Country Priest and how it lifts generously from that film, I know you've made your notes on this.
I
where
have
it comes
the
alive.
actual
there's your piece.
log line for it. This is literally what it says. The play.
It's easy. I mean, it doesn't take much to say this. It's Schrader's best film in a long time. The way it's shot, I know Schrader talked about it a ton, with the transcendental style, where very, very deliberate framing, very symmetrical film, very cold.
It's very
film,
Ozu.
Very distant film. Like the look of the film lends to like the disquiet and within the quiet atmosphere. You know what I mean? And it's atmospheric. There's tension. It twists on you. It builds on you. It takes an existential turn in that third act, but I think it's an existential turn it earns. How do you feel about that? I think
that was my favorite part of the movie.
I was going to say, I mean, the people I talked to who had reactions were, if they got to a head-scratching point, it wasn't the first two acts, it was the third one. So.
Oh, no, that's what
where
really
it takes
sold me on it. Yeah.
Cool.
Like, either you're going to be on board or you're not going to be on board by the third act. And for me, I went from like, oh, this is really interesting, and holy shit!
We're going there, right? Yeah.
I liked how he uses this 4:3 ratio in the film, as if you're in a confessional booth.
Yeah.
And it's literally of Ethan Hawke confessing to the audience, and you sort of feel trapped like him too with that ratio.
My hands shake as I write these lines.
Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Can God forgive us for what we've done to this world?
Who can know the mind of God?
I could talk about it all day, but I think we gotta move on to the.
Well, here
next
I'll sneak in one from in between. The same night as First Reformed, the movie after it was on Chesil Beach or Kessel Beach.
Oh yes, tell me about all Kessel Beach.
Yeah, well, I mean, most people are going to see that film. In fact, I think it comes out May 25th here coming up. Saoirse Ronan is enough to make anybody go watch a film now. Saoirse rhymes with inertia. That's how I learned it.
I thought it was Saoirse.
It's actually Saoirse.
Sushi?
Is it another Brooklyn or is it?
Brooklyn was my number 2 or 3 film that year it came out. Like Brooklyn's just deep, far more engaging. This one has a cold distance to it and takes jumps that Brooklyn can't. So fans of Brooklyn will appreciate it, but I don't think it's a tough follow because Brooklyn is just so damn good.
Edward.
Well,
actually, I'm a little bit scared.
It's an okay romance, but it feels very uneven for when it kind of shifts gears from cheeky, sunny romance to hard, aging drama.
Is it like a movie about like how relationships fail or something like that?
It can go there, yeah. Where do relationships hinge on failure is one way to think about it. Ronan's the reason to see the movie. Mild recommend for me, not a super strong recommend.
Right.
I don't think you missed too much. It'll have a cup of coffee in the indie theaters, and you'll get it on Amazon soon.
Right.
It's hopeless.
Is it?
Ooh, the closing night.
Yeah,
big hitter.
Closing night, 8th grade. So it was definitely. I guess this movie has 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
It may stay 100%. I can't see somebody picking it apart too hard. Oh, here comes. He's gonna pick it apart.
All right, so I don't know why critics are like. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie.
I'm on upper good, almost great. I haven't written it yet. I'm thinking about it. I'm in between.
I liked it, but I just felt like it was repeating the same scene too much, where it was about awkward social interactions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I get that she's having trouble fitting in. Like, is there going to be more conflict in this film? Is something else going to happen? What are we going to get here?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really go anywhere past that.
I don't talk a lot at school, but if people talk to me and stuff, they'd find out that I'm like really funny and cool and talkative.
I'll defend it on
It was
that.
authentic, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you kind of want to see this character maybe get a little smarter, grow a little more. And
Haven't we seen that before? Haven't we seen we've seen that coming of age story where you have the savant-ish, better than everyone else, smarter than everyone else teen, where
I don't
everyone
want
else,
that.
but where everyone
Yeah.
else doesn't get her and she's better than everyone else, or he's better than everyone.
No.
We've seen that coming of age story. I kind of like that this one was a plain Jane, almost fuck up character.
Yeah.
Who's not going to elevate, especially in a week's time. It's not going to elevate from fuck up.
Right.
It's probably going to take 4 years of high school. I don't know. I was okay with the mild bounce of the springboard that didn't. I didn't need this big character arc of success. I was okay with it.
Well, I'm not talking about like her changing from being a fuck up to not a fuck up, but
Yeah.
more of just having some sort of progression at all, or
I think
just
you get
some
that.
like
she
I
finds
think
her first friend. Props to Bo Burnham, feature debut from a first time filmmaker, and he got A24 to bankroll it. Alyssa
Yeah.
Fisher does a fantastic job as the lead. I know she can't formulate a sentence, but to me, there's some genuineness there. Again, if this was Haley Joel Osment, we've seen some overcoached teen actor.
Yeah.
Well, even Burnham said in his Q&A after the film, he said, you meet a lot of actors, because he was casting and testing for this. You either meet actors who are super duper confident, who can't play nervous and weird, or you meet somebody who's weird who can't ever get confident about themselves. So I'm glad he went the other way, but this kid who plays her is kind of an emerging pro.
Being yourself can be hard, and it's like, aren't I always being myself? And yeah, for sure. But being yourself is like not changing yourself to impress someone else.
I think this is a film that will get I think it's going to get a good audience when it gets like multiplex level stuff. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe people will like it a lot. I don't know. Just for me, it didn't work. It just like I liked how the interactions were awkward. How interactions even today, like even when you become an adult, are still awkward.
Yeah.
Just grab my phone. How to charge it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I charge it too. But my phone,
I felt like it really did kind of encapsulate what it felt like to be in the 8th grade, but I think I'm just kind of burnt out from coming of age movies being at like every film festival, and it's like I get it. It's like I've seen coming of age like covered in every sort of way. And yeah, it's a good coming of age film, but I don't think it's really that special. It's just it's just something.
It's hard when the market's saturated like that. It's
Yeah.
not. Are you saying we should have coming of age film fatigue the way we have superhero fatigue?
Or Star Wars fatigue.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Talk about that later.
Yeah.
When did you get Snapchat? What grade?
5th grade.
5th grade? What? Yo, see?
We are gonna go to searching.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm calling to report a missing person.
Okay, who is this regarding?
My daughter.
I'll lead on this
Now,
one.
here's a sure. Go ahead, sir.
Searching for, if I'm making an audience word, this was my #1 film of the festival. It's a bit of a gimmick film, we can say, where the entirety of this film is shot and shown to you through screens.
Could have been a gimmick film.
I loved it. I thought it was a real genius use of the gimmick, real smartly written thriller.
Yeah.
The Q&A after really helped sell it to me, where the way they wrote and put the depth into everything with the clues and the design and the layout of that film, I couldn't help but be impressed, especially for likely a tiny budget indie film.
Yeah.
Edge of my seat. I had the feels because I'm still a parent. It was my top film of the fest.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite one, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I thought, this could have been a movie that was a gimmick. It wasn't a gimmick. It could actually service the storyline.
Yeah.
This was made under the same company that I think also did Unfriended. And you could literally tell that they went through the list of things not to do that Unfriended did.
They did their homework.
This movie's like an editor's wet dream. The editing is what really makes this movie work.
Yeah.
Where you have essentially a very blank canvas. It's a screen.
You have a Windows XP desktop.
You have a Windows XP. You have an Apple.
Rolling Hills.
We'll handle the ground investigation, but as a parent, you can help us with who your daughter talks to. Is that something you can do?
Yes.
I mean, the way they make it work is they know how to whip pan across all the various text messages, and I liked how there were like little clues like across the screen throughout. So every time you see it on multiple viewings, you get something a little different.
I can't wait to see it again because
it rewards you on multiple viewings, which I think a good filmmaker does. They don't just
especially in this genre. Like, how many scary movies do we see? And this isn't, I wouldn't say a scary movie. This is not a gory, scary movie.
Well,
but how many
psychological scary? Sure, kid gets stolen. You know?
Sure. Yeah. But how many horror films do we watch, or even intense thrillers do we watch, where once this stuff is spoiled, and once you know, you don't want to go back. Like, I know what's coming. The twist is already too easy to see.
Once you know who the killer is,
and there's no fun in it anymore.
Yeah.
To me, that's every M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I don't watch it twice.
Yeah, you see Split, and you know what the thing is. But
right. But this one, you could go back multiple times and get a kick out of it, or show it to new people because it's a little indie film where I don't know. This is. If people ask me for a recommend from this festival, like an immediate film they can plug in and instantly get into without having to really unpack anything. Like First Reformed, you really got to unpack it.
Yeah.
On Chesil Beach, there's nothing much to it. 8th grade, maybe you need to be in that demographic and wheelhouse. But this one, you could plug in instantly because all of us have devices. All of us have this stuff. Whether we're a parent or a kid or in between, we can go, ooh, what would I do in that situation?
Right.
And that's enough to really make it entertaining.
I didn't know her. I didn't know my daughter.
Bodied.
Now, you didn't see Bodied.
I didn't see it, so take it away. I want to absorb this one.
Bodied is a movie that I thought it was a charming film about sort of the hypocrisy of people who are politically correct. You'll get a lot of reactions from this film because they say every word you're not supposed to say in that movie. I thought it was not like a great movie, but a very good comedy where it keeps your attention. But I think it overstayed its welcome because literally as I was watching it throughout the film, the problem with the comedy is you can only physically laugh for like maybe like hour and a half, and then you kind of run out of steam, right? In this movie, I think maybe it runs a little over 2 hours, and I could literally pinpoint like the point in the movie where people were just out of laughing, energy. It could have gone through some trimming in the editing room.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah. And the movie was made for like the most ADD audience possible. It's very much like slamming its point over your head, where it's almost like insulting the audience's intelligence. And the main character in the movie, his name was Adam. He was played by this actor who is like in a lot of Disney shows.
Come beat the heat with me this summer at Calem's Splishy Splashy Land, the brand new water park owned and operated by me, TV's Calem Worthy.
And in here, he took on this role that no other actor wanted to because, he.
And it's like, yeah, for sure.
In order to not to de-glam himself a little bit.
To be as politically incorrect as possible.
Ballsy. Gonna cost himself a job. We've seen worse happen to less people.
Yeah, I think it'll get him more work, honestly.
Well, I think it'll get him more work away from Disney.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
The greatest way to beat the heat with me, TV's Calem Worthy. Yeah!
I'll say that he almost is too flawless as a character, where like he just wins like every single rap battle in that movie, like every single time. And they try to explain it that, well, he's educated in poetry and his father runs this university and all that. But it's still like, yeah, but how is he just amazing all the time? He's like a Mary Sue in the movie, you know? But I will say he does go through a lot of conflict in the film, and by the end, he kind of loses everything, but he gains everything. But it was through rap battle, but I would say it's an okay comedy, but it wasn't a great film.
Strong recommend, mild recommend?
I'd give it a mild recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get the fuck out of here, you little fucking dweeby fat!
I'll name drop a quick small one that since you saw one, I've seen one. We the Animals was a good, okay little film.
Yeah, we could just skip right to
kind of on the heels of like the Florida Project would be the easiest comp I can tell audiences of. Just kind of an examination into a level of poverty and what a struggling family has to do to kind of make ends meet, and how that's not really perfect for mom or dad. And we see the whole thing through the eyes of these three boys that are their sons, and how one of them is young enough to still be naive to maybe not be a mess, while the other two older ones really take to kind of becoming their mom and dad and be just terrible people.
This movie was a lot like Terrence Malick before he went off the deep end.
We've had that discussion.
Yeah.
I'm here to confess and to state out loud that the overrated filmmaker and film I'm here to talk about today is Terrence Malick.
I thought it was one of the most accurate films about why women will stay in an abusive relationship.
That is true.
Because she literally financially needs her husband, and there's nowhere else where she could take her kids. And, you know, although he uses his wife as a punching bag, he's not also like an entirely horrible person. You actually get to know him as a real guy, like the dad we're talking about in the film.
He does mean well, or try to. And
Yeah,
it is peaks and valleys of successes and failures, and done in a frank and honest and not too. I mean, the fantasy and the whimsy's there, but not over the top.
It's not overdone.
No, mild recommend for me. Nothing too strong. Like I wouldn't run out like. I know I used the comp of the Florida Project, but like I'd watch the Florida.
Well,
Project.
speaking of the Florida Project, I'll give you an example of a movie I saw. I don't know where the hell it is on my notes here, but no, Support the Girls.
Yeah, go
which
for it.
was a goddamn piece of shit.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a fucking piece of shit.
I was wondering. Okay, this close to seeing it.
Right now, like everyone who was like involved in that festival probably saw this video and they're like, "Fuck you, we're never allowing you to." No, I hated it. All right, this was like an art house version of Coyote.
You're allowed to hate it.
Yeah,
empower you.
Yeah,
go for it.
No, this is like the art house version of Coyote Ugly, or at least like made by someone who thinks they can make an art house version of Coyote Ugly. Ooh. We have Regina Hall, who's the main protagonist, and her whole sort of struggle in the movie is that she can't make ends meet. And, you know, if she doesn't help, this place is called Double Whammies, which is basically a Hooters.
Are we allowed to say that?
with curves.
You can say it.
There you go.
Double whammies.
Wink, wink,
Oh,
double
you're wearing the shirt? Like, I'm not.
The whole place will fall apart without her. Most of the characters are pretty much one-dimensional. Outside of her struggling for money, I didn't really care about her struggles. I just kind of got the idea right away, and it's like, okay, where else can we go? What else can we do? And there's nothing there. And this movie so badly wants to be like Sean Baker. It so badly wants to be like Tangerine or The Florida Project, where he has scenes that are sort of like not directly connected to the narrative, but more of a day in the life of the protagonist and how they struggle. But the thing is with his movies, there's a certain charm and a certain style to them that's very
Sean's
gritty.
got going.
Yeah, like not just because like, you know, Tangerine was shot on an iPhone.
No,
but
the people and the stakes are gritty, not
Yeah.
The writing is gritty, not just the look.
And this production design of the films, too. Yeah. They're very raw, and they're very real, but you still kind of care for the characters in his films. And this movie wants to be Sean Baker, but it's not. It's like if the director of Waiting decided to all of a sudden make a fucking art film. And this movie really should have been directed by...
So Art House, Coyote Ugly, director of Waiting, making serious film.
Yeah.
Say no more. Ooh.
Revenge? Now, did you see Revenge?
I didn't. I have a screener at home. I need to. Sounds good.
You know what? You'll see the trailer. You'll get the idea of what the whole movie is. Okay. Like a Revenge is literally like if Robert Rodriguez directed I Spit on Your Grave.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlike Robert Rodriguez, this movie doesn't have sort of the whimsical charm that his movies do.
Once you get to Rodriguez, there's charm there that it's hard to top.
Yeah. Like with Machete, it's fun. You know, like the guy takes a fucking dude's intestines and he goes through a window. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. You can tell he's having a good time. This movie's just mean-spirited and angry, and they're trying to advertise it like it's this feminist, like, sort of empowerment film because it was directed by a woman, but it's really not.
Right.
It's just
where it's the
bland.
situation where, okay, fine, you made it the way you wanted to make it, and you have the statement you want to state that doesn't make it better, you're saying? Like, just because it came from a nice source?
Yeah, it still objectifies...
Still a hateful, shitty
Yeah, it still objectifies the protagonist, who's a woman. She's like literally like in her underwear throughout the whole film, and then like even when she's covered with mud and like blood and everything like that, like she's still she's still hot, and the camera revolves around her like she is that way. And yes, it does objectify the men as well, like the main guy in the film who
equal opportunity objection is.
Yeah, like they show like the guy's running around with this fucking package out like in the third act, like hunting the girl down. I mean, it was literally just a movie directed by someone who loves blood, and there was really nothing more to it other than its simple premise. And the way that they're advertising it on YouTube now, where they're like taking like people's comments where they're saying like, oh, fuck women, they deserve to be in the kitchen. All right, like those guys are assholes, but that's not that kind of empowerment film. It was very basic. I didn't think it was really worth a film festival, and I just thought it was boring. Like I got what it was.
The film festival, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So then our last film on the list is Abducted in Plain Sight.
Mr. Berchtold had such an effervescent, wonderful personality. We became very good friends.
He was so engaged with the kids, too. I mean, he really was fun. And
he could give me a great feeling about myself. I was attracted to him.
This is a true crime documentary that's a little different from other true crime documentaries.
Please, dude, tell me how it's different.
Not because of its style, okay?
Because that's normally where they have to go to be different.
But it's because of how it happens. Because the parents of the girl who is abducted in the film, I think her name was like Jan Nordberg or some shit like that.
Okay.
Jan Broberg and Robert Berchtold had an unnatural relationship.
But you can just call them worst parents in the face of the earth, I'm told.
Oh, yeah. They're the worst, dumbest fucking parents on the fucking planet.
Berchtold said, I want to take Jan out horseback riding. When she didn't come home, I was a little nervous.
It was a nationwide search.
This is a movie that will get your blood boiling. You will be so angry.
Is that intentional and by design?
No, it's just a story.
Okay.
It's not meant to really get you angry or anything. It just shows you the story and it shows you what happened, and it keeps its distance from its subjects, which I think was highly commendable of the
hard to do.
Yeah, the filmmakers for doing that, because I would have trouble keeping my distance.
My brother was always a sexual pervert. He always did like his little girls.
I mean, I guess it was played a little too much like a cautionary tale, but at the same time, that's sort of what made it different, because if it wasn't a cautionary tale,
it wouldn't be a documentary.
It would
worth
just
telling, yeah.
Yeah, it would just be something else you see on True TV.
Thanks for having me on to talk about this.
Thanks
Good
a
festival,
lot.
good stuff.
Yeah.
See you again soon.
Yeah. You'll probably agree.
Every movie has a lesson.
Yes, and every movie has a lesson.